Good evening, everyone. We'll be getting started in just a few moments. No one's actually there yet. Sorry. Good evening, everyone. We'll be getting started in just a few moments. It takes a little bit of time for Facebook and YouTube to send out those alerts. So as soon as folks get signed on, we'll be getting started. We have a great program in front of you today. We have the phenomenal entrepreneur extraordinaire, Koereyelle DuBose, who will be presenting today. So stay tuned. For those of you who are familiar with this program, you know the procedure. Go into the comments, leave a comment, drop your location, share it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Tell the world you are here. Let's get the world here today to share in today's program. Again, we'll be talking about diversifying your business plan in the midst of a pandemic, which we are currently in. So if you're an entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, with small business, large business, mom and pop, you're going to want to get today's information and learn what you can do to pivot during this pandemic. I know a lot of companies are thriving during these times. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses have not been able to survive. But if you are in that situation, this is your opportunity to pivot. There are a number of ways for you to leverage the circumstances. There are a number of tools out there to help you kind of operate more efficiently, more swiftly, and we'll get in all of that today. So again, leave a comment, tell your friends you are here. We'll be getting started in just a few moments. Hey, Summer, we just added you to the program.
Hello.
We are currently live, but we'll be getting started in just a few moments as the audience is about to take their seats, so to speak. We'll be getting started in just a few moments.
Perfect.
Again, if you are watching, feel free to leave a comment. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions later in the show. Hello, Rashida Mitchell. Thanks for joining us. Hello, Joseline. Longtime YP member. Good to see you in the program. I know you'll be taking notes. Joseline always takes notes for these programs and send it to me after the fact, so I greatly appreciate you for that. Again, leave a comment, share your location, let folks know you are at the event and you're attending. We want to get as many people to the program as possible, so please let's share this good work that we have to share. Again, we got a great program ahead of us. We have entrepreneur extraordinaire, marketing expert, all-around great person, Koereyelle DuBose, leading today's program, Diversifying Your Business Plans in the Midst of a Pandemic. Spoke to Koereyelle just a few minutes ago, and she is uber excited to share her wealth of knowledge. She spent quite a bit of time kind of collecting this wealth of information, so to serve you a great deal to pay attention, take notes, and see how your business can pivot during this pandemic that we're experiencing right now. So again, leave a comment, share your location. We'll get started in less than a minute. We'll get started. Again, this program is the Business Sense Bootcamp sponsored by Comerica Bank. Comerica is an advocate for small businesses and has been a huge sponsor and a supporter of the Greater Phoenix Urban League, as well as the Greater Phoenix Urban League Young Professionals. So we thank Comerica greatly for their continued support of our activities, their support of entrepreneurs, their support of small businesses. So we're just really excited that we're able to put this all together and kind of present this content to you. So we'll get started in less than a minute. We have a few folks joining. I know we were expecting a few people that I haven't seen sign on yet, so we'll give them just a few more moments, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Again, we have Koereyelle DuBose leading today's program, the Business Sense Bootcamp sponsored by Comerica Bank, and presented you in conjunction with the Greater Phoenix Urban League, Greater Phoenix Urban League Young Professionals. Okay, folks, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank everyone for joining today's program. This is the Business Sense Bootcamp presented to you by Comerica Bank. and working alongside the Greater Phoenix Urban League and the Greater Phoenix Urban League Young Professionals. My name is Jerry McPherson. I have the pleasure to serve as the Director of Economic Empowerment for the Greater Phoenix Urban League and the immediate past president for the Greater Phoenix Urban League Young Professionals. As I'm sure many of you know, you've heard me say it, time and time again. My department is responsible for economic empowerment, which includes a workforce development program, which is making sure that the job opportunities reaches our community, along with the opportunity to develop new skills, apprenticeships, internships, anything that can be ensure that our community get the opportunities to not only get a job, but get a career that offers upward mobility. In addition to that, I am responsible for building an entrepreneurship center that is underway, and this is one element of that program that we are bringing forward in the coming months. Just today, we launched a boot camp in conjunction with Archwood Exchange, as well as Hustle Phoenix. We have about 20 entrepreneurs going underneath the 12-week program to learn the ways to pretty much how to run your business, whether it's new entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs or even existing business owners. This information is vital in properly running your business, everything from marketing to strategy to customer acquisition and accounting. So this will be an ongoing program that we'll be offering you, and just stay tuned. We'll be able to provide more information in the coming weeks. So again, today's program is brought to you by Comerica Bank. And with that being said, I would like to introduce Summer Fawcett, who is the Assistant Vice President for Corporate Communications at Comerica Bank. And she also serves as the External Affairs Market Manager for the Arizona market. So with that being said, I would like to introduce Summer Fawcett. How are you doing, Summer?
I'm good, Jerry. Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here. That's amazing to hear all of the different things that Urban League is doing and what the city needs. Entrepreneurship is important. It is important to know, even if you're in corporate. I think entrepreneurship is one of those things where you can never get enough of. It's always great to know this information. But for Comerica Bank, we are committed to our community. So that is why we've partnered with Urban League. We absolutely love our partnership and our collaboration with them because they're free to do all the things that we want them to do. So they have the pulse in the community so that we can kind of see, what's the need and how can we help. And in this basically era, we need to help with helping people how to transform their business to where it needs to be today, but also understand how to make money during this time. There's no point of running a business if you can't make money. So we're a bank. We're very, very strategic with our planning and who we want to partner with. So thank you so much, Urban League and Jerry, for being one of the front runners of our boot camp series for understanding how to run your business. This is a business boot camp series, and we're excited to see what it is for the future. And we are here. I am here for any questions that are needed for banking or services or whatever it might be. But we're really here just to make sure the community has an understanding on how to run a business, how to make money in your business, and to make sure there's longevity in the business. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say tonight, and I'll be in the background for any questions.
Thank you so much, Summer. Again, Comerica Bank is a huge sponsor and supporter of everything it is that we do, and we greatly appreciate your support of this program. Again, we have a great program ahead of us. Koereyelle DuBose, entrepreneur extraordinaire, going to give you just a wealth of information. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce Koereyelle. Koereyelle is an international speaker and award-winning entrepreneur who has been recognized by Forbes, Black Enterprise, Huffington Post, NBC, Fox, Essence, and more for her service to women around the world. In 2019, Ko retired from empowerment to focus on teaching women how to get paid. She's the founder of Werk University, the first African-American women-owned online trade school. She's on a mission to connect women of color to the resources they need so that they can save themselves, stop living paycheck to paycheck, and start living the life of their dreams. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Koereyelle to the program. How you doing, Koereyelle?
I am so good, so excited to be here, and I definitely am thankful for that warm welcome.
So, Koereyelle, for those few people out in the world who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so I got my start professionally in the classroom. I taught second and third grade for 4 years. I was one of those people who did not see entrepreneurship for myself because I was tied to the fact that I had spent time and money and resources getting degrees. And so I really kind of felt like that was the only path, that I could prosper in. And so, of course, life happened. Unforeseen circumstances came along that kind of shifted my focus and shifted my goals for myself, and not just shifted my goals, but shifted my perspective on what I was capable of doing. And so I became an entrepreneur in 2011. We're going to be talking a lot about pivoting tonight, and that is one thing that I am definitely very familiar with. So I am excited anytime I have the opportunity to share my story, share my success secrets, or share any strategies that I may have with other entrepreneurs. So I'm excited to be here. I have built a number of businesses. I've started a number of brands, and hopefully my experience tonight will help someone on their journey as well.
Right, and I can speak firsthand. I've known Koereyelle for roughly 10 years, so I guess I was out around during the beginning of your entrepreneurship journey, and I can firsthand, provide testimony to the work that you put forth. Just your ingenuity, your creativity, and personally, I tell you all the time, I'm really proud of your progress and your growth. Maybe I don't tell you that enough, so if I haven't, here it is. I'm truly proud of your growth and development, and I'm really excited that I can help share this platform with the world. So today's topic is diversing your business plans in the midst of a pandemic. We have COVID-19 running rampant. Businesses have shut down. Folks are just uncertain of the severity of the virus and how long it will last and impact our economy. So if you could just tell a little bit about why today's program is so important to those business owners, but particularly Black business owners, and your subset of that is women-owned businesses.
Absolutely. So we've all been impacted by this pandemic in one way or another, whether you are an entrepreneur or a full-time employee. All of us have experienced some type of impact that we just were not expecting at the start of the year. And as I said, and as I'm going to continue to say tonight, the pivot is kind of just part of it. This particular pivot caught us all off guard, and it's one that, again, we all have, kind of experienced. It's nothing personal. You can't take it personal because we're all kind of going through the same things, even if it's affecting us in different ways. I'm sure we are all aware of the statistics about the number of, Black-owned businesses that have shut down since the pandemic started. I definitely know, here in Atlanta, a number of Black businesses shut down at the start of the pandemic, and unfortunately, they never opened their doors again. And so, if I can do anything to assist business owners to increase their longevity or just create a plan so that they can successfully pivot, then I definitely want to be able to do that. And so being able to diversify your plans, I think, is so important. I wish we could have had this conversation at the start of the year before all of this happened, but better late than never. So I think it's a very important topic, regardless of the stage you're in as an entrepreneur. But definitely if you are, a seasoned CEO and you've been caught off guard, typically when you have been in business for a number of years, you are accustomed to doing things a certain way. And so this year, none of us have been able to do things the way that we anticipated. So I think it's a very important conversation, and I am just thankful to be able to lead it.
Right. So we'll go ahead and get started. Just again, some housekeeping tips for those in the audience. Feel free to leave a comment, or if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. You have an opportunity for a Q&A later in the program, whether it's for Koereyelle or Summer. You have an opportunity to ask those questions. I would encourage you later in the program, we'll give you a couple of prompts so you can get the questions in there. If you kind of drop it later, it's more likely to get asked versus get lost in the comments. But go ahead and leave it. We got someone watching that. If you have any questions, you're afraid you forget it, go ahead and leave it in the comments. We'll be sure to give everyone the appropriate attention that they need, and we'll be sure to share Koereyelle's contact information following this program, so that if you need to connect with her and kind of need a little bit more information that she shared, then you'll have the opportunity to do so. So with that being said, Koereyelle, I will yield the floor to you and take it away.
All right, so let's get started. Again, this is the Business Sense Bootcamp. I am Koereyelle DuBose, and our topic for tonight is diversifying your business plans in the midst of a pandemic. It is my goal to be a source of not just inspiration, but information and creativity, hopefully, regardless of the stage that you're in within your business, whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur, a beginning business owner, or a seasoned CEO. It is my goal to share something tonight that speaks to you that you're able to take back and implement within your business. So we can go on to the next slide. I definitely like to start by talking about or identifying the problem, but I will never talk about back one. Back one more, Jerry.
Bear with me.
Okay. All right. So I like to start by identifying the problem, but I will never, just identify a problem and leave you hanging without also providing a solution. So as we mentioned, this topic of diversifying your plans is more important now than ever because we are in the midst of a global pandemic. When this started back in March, I'm sure that none of us thought that we would be going into September still dealing with this. And because we are still dealing with it, and because it is just clear that regardless of the plans we have, we can't control what's going on. And so because that is the case, I think that this is a time for all of us to learn this very important lesson that you can have all the plans in the world, but a pandemic can come, can come through, and then we all have to kind of be able to pivot. So one thing that I have learned over the last 9 years as an entrepreneur is that your path to success often requires a pivot. It's not typically a global pandemic that requires the pivot, but nonetheless, regardless of, what's going on globally, a lot of times, and I'm sure all of my seasoned entrepreneurs out there can agree that there are obstacles that come up. There are things that we are faced with that are unpredictable, that we, are uncontrollable, and that we have to, kind of get creative to figure out what our next step is going to be. So the problem that we are going to discuss tonight is how you can pivot even in the midst of a global pandemic. So let's talk about the solution. I believe that the solution in this case and in any case that, comes up within your journey of entrepreneurship, within your personal life, you have to make a conscious choice to turn your obstacles into opportunities. I am very big on mindset. Again, whether we're talking about your personal goals or your professional goals, if you don't first believe that you can truly achieve the things that you are going after, then you've already defeated yourself. And so several times over the last 9 years, I've been faced with circumstances that were not ideal. And I really had to figure out, how can I get creative? I truly believe that we are challenged so that we can build our creativity. And again, this is not a unique challenge. We are all suffering in some way because of this pandemic. And so it really is up to you to figure out how you can use this obstacle and create an opportunity. We know the statistics around the number of businesses that are failing right now, but guess what? There are several businesses that are thriving. Okay. I mean, I feel like I hear every day a new astronomical number that Jeff Bezos has increased his income by. He's not the only one. There are plenty of business owners that pivoted quickly and have been very profitable throughout this pandemic. And so I believe that if you have the mindset that you're never going to quit, that you are not going to let this be an excuse, but you're going to continue and consistently execute, then you will be able to survive anything, global pandemic or not. So let's go ahead to the next slide. All right, so pre-pandemic, things looked a little bit different. We were able to take control of our outcomes somewhat. Again, regardless of whether we're talking about a pandemic or not, there are some things that we just can't control. Most successful entrepreneurs, like myself, we are control freaks. We want to be able to, decide the outcome for everything. We want to be able to plan in advance. So for people who had their 2020 vision, right? At the beginning of the year, we were all talking about this 2020 vision that we had. I am sure that this was not a part of anyone's 2020 vision. I had, extensive plans for what I wanted 2020 to look like Pre-pandemic, I have never experienced anything like this. You know, I've talked to my parents about their entire 60 plus years living, and they've never experienced anything like this. So there's literally nothing that we could have done to be able to predict that this was going to happen. So pre-pandemic, we thought we were in control of our outcomes. We thought that we had the ability to develop long-term plans. We thought that we had the ability to create long-term profit projections. One of my businesses that I own is a travel agency, and I'm going to mention that business probably several times tonight because that is definitely one business that was greatly impacted. Again, I cannot control these circumstances. I've had people who had, travel plans since 2019 that had to, take a back seat because of everything that's going on. The money that I had tied to those plans, that was pre-projected. Like I thought that money was as good as in my bank account. However, that obviously was not the case. But pre-pandemic, we were able to at least think that we had these long-term profit projections. And a lot of us were making business decisions and business plans based on the projections that we thought, our business was going to bring in. Pre-pandemic, we also had the ability to create local partnerships. A lot of the businesses that I mentioned that have not opened their doors, those are brick and mortar businesses. Those are businesses that depended on large staff. Those are businesses that really, had a lot of hurdles, a lot of obstacles that they were not able to turn into opportunities just because of their specific business model and the business plans that they had in place. So I want to talk to you all tonight, and we can go ahead and go to the next slide. I want to talk to you all tonight about how to diversify the plans that you may already have. And if you're not yet in business, then this is the perfect time to have this conversation because you can create your business plans based on kind of some untraditional structures or some new creative strategies. So let's talk about typical or traditional structures and strategies. So if you are a product-based business, some of these approaches may sound familiar to you. A traditional strategy for product-based business was relying on retailers to promote and sell your products. Imagine if you were a product-based business and you just got a major contract with, let's say Sears. Most Sears locations are inside of malls, and we know that many malls were closed for a very long time. So imagine if you just produced thousands of products to go inside of thousands of stores, thinking that you were going to make thousands of dollars from the sale of those products, only for those stores to get shut down. So that traditional approach for a product-based business is one that we have to pivot in the midst of a pandemic. Can you still be successful? Absolutely. And we're going to talk about some different strategies for you to still be able to do that. Another approach that may sound familiar if you are a product-based business is being able to engage with customers in person at events and trade shows. A lot of businesses relied on speaking with customers and getting out into the community, whether it's your community or you were, traveling across the country or across the world to be able to have that one-on-one or you in front of a group of potential customers at these in-person events. Well, most cities here in the United States have implemented different policies where, here in Atlanta, at one point it was you couldn't have an event with 10 or more people. You can't, I think right now it's 75 people. So that had to shift dramatically. And if you were relying on being able to sell your products in front of people, that is an approach that will no longer work in the midst of a pandemic. Another traditional approach for product-based businesses is using traditional marketing strategies to make sales. So again, there are people who, believe it or not, I know billboards are kind of old school, but there are people who spend thousands of dollars to market themselves using billboards. And guess what? If nobody's out driving their cars, if everyone is, under a stay-at-home order, how many people are actually going to be able to see what you spent your money on? And that's just one example, but there are several traditional marketing strategies that product-based businesses may have been relying on that are just no longer a viable option for you to be able to market your business. So let's go on to the next slide and talk about service-based businesses. As a service-based business, 9 times out of 10, you are relying on in-person appointments. Unless you are, like a coach that offers online services, or, if you've already kind of taken your business online, which is one of the strategies we're going to talk about. If you have not already done that, then you are probably relying on in-person appointments. Imagine having, an amazing 2019, having booked yourself up 6 months in advance for 2020, and then the state tells you it's unsafe for you to go see anybody face to face. That can be detrimental to a business. That can literally put you out of business if that is your only means to be able to connect with your clients. Another traditional approach for service-based business is engaging with customers in person, again, at events and at trade shows. So product-based businesses are not the only businesses that rely on events. A lot of service-based businesses build their clientele by going out into the community and meeting people face to face. In order for you to build trust for a lot of service-based businesses, putting that face with the name and being able to explain your specific approach or your specific methodology is important for you to be able to build and market your business. And again, if you are a service-based business that was utilizing traditional marketing strategies to sell your services, then you were probably a little upset when things outside of your control kind of limited the way that you were able to do business. So let's go on to the next slide. Margaret says she had an annual conference that had to be postponed for 2020, but again, the power of the pivot. So it's funny that you say that, because I have been hosting annual conferences since 2013. So this would have been my 8th year hosting my annual conference. And I'm one of those people who, pandemic or not, I did not want to cancel my event. I have never in my career canceled an event. I was talking about this to someone earlier, how literally on this day, on August 25th in 2012, was the first time I ever hosted an in-person event. It was a flop. Jerry was actually at that event. Believe it or not, nobody showed up. It was me, Jerry, and probably 5 other people. Terrible event. But even not having success, even not having anyone show up, even not getting the results that I wanted to get, I have never canceled an event. I've never called it off. I've never even changed the date of an event. So when I literally did not have a choice but to cancel this event that I had planned for September, it was devastating to me. But again, you can either, cry about it, or you can get creative. And so I literally, within the last 30 days, had to pivot into a digital event, into an online conference. And so we're going to talk about some creative ways that you can pivot, that you can still be able to provide solutions for your clients. But again, knowing that this is not just happening to you, this is literally something that is affecting all of us, that kind of takes the edge off and, makes you feel like, again, what are you going to do? You're going to cry about it, or you're going to get creative. So let's talk about some of those creative and diverse strategies and solutions that you can start to implement, regardless of whether you have a product-based business or a service-based business. I am a firm believer in collaboration. Okay, again, my mindset is everything, and my mindset is abundant. I don't believe that partnering with someone, attaching someone else to my brand is ever going to take anything away from me. Okay, I don't believe that, and never have. And so collaborative projects has been one of my strategies that has really helped me to elevate my business and really get the word out about my brand, because it's a way to leverage the audiences of other people. So a quick example, over the last 2 weeks, I was a part of a collaborative project where myself and 10 other women entrepreneurs, we put together a resource bundle where each of us, contributed one resource to this digital bundle. And so because we were not relying on just my audience, which I have a pretty decent sized audience myself, I have almost 120,000 followers. I hate saying the word followers, but I have my audience is about 120,000, and that's good. But if I can partner with 10 other women who have at least 10, 15, 25,000 followers themselves, then now I'm able to amplify, yes, Adrienne, the bundle bestie, now I'm able to amplify my message. I'm able to amplify my mission to literally hundreds of thousands of potential customers, instead of just the people who might know me personally or who might be following my page. And so collaborative projects and influencer marketing are definitely creative strategies that you can use to diversify your plans in the midst of this pandemic, because again, you are able to connect with and collaborate with businesses and brands that have similar audiences so that you're able to leverage those audiences. You can have, again, a million of your own followers, but if you can connect with other people who have similar audiences, you can amplify your business to people who probably would have never heard about you or known about what you have to offer any other way. So that's just one example of a collaborative project, but there are so many other ways that you can just get creative and partner with people who are doing things that are similar to you. Again, abundance mindset. Some of the women who I collaborate with do similar things to me, but I'm not ever afraid or intimidated that someone else is going to take someone out of my audience, or someone else is going to take something that was supposed to be mine. When you are really, truly, operating in your purpose, I believe that the people who are for you are going to find you, and there's nothing that no one out there can do to stop those people from finding you. So collaborative projects and influencer marketing are really great ways to leverage the audience and the influence of other people to promote and market your products and services. Digital products are another really great way. I believe that every entrepreneur, every business owner should have a digital product suite. Info products are literally game changers, okay? When I started my first business, or it wasn't my first business, it was my first successful business back in 2012, I didn't know anything about digital products. There weren't a lot of courses and ebooks and digital downloads and things that we have now in 2020. And so I was working hard and not smart because I was strictly focused on physical products. And so being able to profit from digital products with half of the effort, half of the work that it takes to be able to manufacture or fulfill orders for a physical product, it blew my mind. And so I'm all about working smarter and not harder. I never want to share with you all information that did not work for me or strategies that, drove me crazy. So I want to be able to share with you all my lessons learned. And one of those lessons was that you can definitely save yourself time, save yourself stress by focusing on some digital products and digital offers versus only feeling like you have to create physical products. The time that you spend printing off those shipping labels, the time that you spend running to the post office every single day, you can literally make the same amount of money, if not more, selling digital information products. Digital products are a way for you to package your expertise into a downloadable ebook, a downloadable video course, a downloadable audio. You can really get creative with the way that you share your information. And one of the things that I love just reminding people is that we could all literally get together in one room and sit down at a boardroom table and go around the table, and every single person sitting at that table would have access in their head already to some type of information that someone at that table is willing to pay for, regardless of whether you have never owned a business before, you have worked a job, I'm pretty sure. And so the information that you learned on that job, the experience that you gained at that job, the experience that you gained, in your life, if you ended up in unfortunate circumstances and you were the caretaker for a family member, there's something that you learned through that experience that someone else going through something similar would be willing to pay you for. So one of the things that, I think is super important is for you to be able to assess your skills. I think a lot of people, hop on social media and they start to feel like if I don't have exactly what this person has, that I can't be successful. But again, we can all sit down at the table and each of us has something of value to share. And so one of the ways that you are able to share that is through digital products. And they're very low cost for you to develop. They do not take much time for you to be able to develop and start profiting from them. Again, it's just all about getting the information out of your head and onto the internet. Online events, I talked a little bit about this just a moment ago. I had to pivot quickly because I had a sold out event. Okay, I don't even want to tell you the dollar amount of refunds. I mean, I had tears in my eyes refunding the tickets to this event because this event was sold out back in March. Okay, my event had been sold out since March. I had to make the uncomfortable decision in July, to turn that in-person conference into a digital event. Now, the beautiful part about it is the online events take much less effort and much less of an investment. And so although I had to, refund tens of thousands of dollars, I'm going to be able to profit from this digital event and I'm not going to have to put out as much money. And so online events are becoming very popular. I'm sure you have seen someone promoting an online summit, an online conference of some sort. It's a pretty simple way to reach potential clients globally, again, by positioning yourself as an expert. It can be a free online event. Believe it or not, you can monetize free offers if you are creative and strategic in the way that you do it. So just knowing how to kind of set up your customer funnels can definitely be beneficial. But again, it's all about positioning yourself as an expert. And before you can, convince someone that you are the expert, you have to definitely take an assessment of your skills, take an assessment of your experience, and really figure out what are those topics that you can teach about. There's something that you know about with little to no effort. And those are the things that you should focus on if you do decide to develop an online event or speak at someone else's online event or create a digital product. E-commerce stores are another one of my favorite kind of creative ways to develop streams of income. Again, I started out doing physical products back in 2012, where I was ordering hundreds of t-shirts, trying to maintain the inventory for those t-shirts. I was every single department. I was designing the t-shirts. I was going to get the t-shirts printed. I was fulfilling the orders. I was doing it all. Realizing how simple drop shipping was one of the best things that was like the game changer for me. And so I have e-commerce store here, but what I really want to suggest for you to at least look into is drop shipping. So drop shipping, for those of you who are not familiar with the concept, it's basically you positioning yourself as the middleman. Okay, so you set up an online marketplace, you create or upload the product information, the product images, and you connect your online marketplace to a third-party fulfillment center. So I log onto your website. I see this swimsuit that I want to buy. I buy the swimsuit from your online marketplace, but you are not responsible for having that swimsuit in your basement or in your closet or having that swimsuit in your inventory. Instead, your store is set up to automatically send a message or an alert to a third-party fulfillment center who has that swimsuit in their inventory. And then that third-party fulfillment center mails me, your customer, the swimsuit that I ordered. All you are responsible for is setting up the store, marketing the store, and providing customer service. So again, we're all about working smarter and not harder. In 2020, I set up my latest drop shipping store in June, It literally took me probably 2 hours to set it up. And I was able to start marketing it and start profiting from that 2 hours of work within a week. Okay. Probably the next day I had my first order. But again, your responsibility with drop shipping is to create the online marketplace and market that store. So e-commerce stores allow you to, again, take advantage of drop shipping and other online solutions to sell products that align with your customer needs. If you are interested in drop shipping and you do plan on doing a little bit of research, I also want to encourage you to add Shopify to your list. I highly recommend Shopify. No, they are not paying me to say that. I wish they would pay me to say it because I'm always recommending them to everyone that I can, because they literally are set up to seamlessly do a lot of things that you as an e-commerce store owner want to be able to do. And drop shipping is one of those things that you can just do easily with Shopify. And then last but not least, repurposing your content. So I told you all just a moment ago about one of the collaborative projects that I was a part of. The beauty of that collaborative project, the Bundle Bestie, is that I did not have to create any new content to be a part of this bundle. Each of the collaborators literally went into our vault. We found our best-selling course, or the course that we have released that got the best results for our clients. And we repurposed that content that we've had probably for years that's still relevant. And we literally were able to profit on something that we created in the past. And so repurposing your content literally just means repackaging stale content that positions you as an expert and engages potential customers. When I started my first blog back in 2012, nobody read it. And I spent so much time creating these blogs, writing these blogs, really putting in a lot of work for this blog, only to realize that when I hit publish, nobody was coming to the website. It was really my fault because I wasn't doing a good job of marketing it. But nonetheless, in 2015, when I decided that I wanted to write my first book, I went back to that blog that I knew was full of great information. It didn't make it any less great just because people didn't appreciate it at the time. So when it was time for me to write my book, which was literally a book of lessons, I took information that had previously been on my blog that nobody was reading, and I put it into my book. So that is an example of being able to repurpose old content. Just because someone didn't appreciate it when you first put it out does not make it any less valuable. Sometimes you just have to change the title. Sometimes you just have to, rework the cover or rework the headline. So repurposing content is another creative way for you to pivot your plan in the midst of a pandemic. And we can go on to the next slide. So we are winding down to the end of my presentation tonight, but I definitely wholeheartedly believe this, and I, could not come in front of you all without letting you know my belief, and that is that multiple streams of income is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. And this is true whether you are a full-time employee, a part-time entrepreneur, a full-time entrepreneur, a half-time entrepreneur, regardless of where you are on your journey. I truly believe, and luckily I have kind of learned this the hard way, because if I personally did not have multiple streams of income during this pandemic, if my only stream of income was my travel agency, guess who would have been out on the street in the midst of this pandemic had I been relying on that one stream of income? So regardless of where you are within your business or just where you are personally, I truly believe that you have to focus on developing multiple streams of income. And again, hopefully tonight gave you some creative ways to be able to do that. Before I leave you though, I do want to give you a couple of questions to consider. So we can go on to the next slide. One more. to our first question. Okay, so these are just questions that you might want to jot down, things that I just want you to think about to kind of get your wheels spinning and get your creative juices flowing for how you can potentially be able to pivot within your business. So the first question, how can you increase communication with your existing clients to nurture your relationship? One of the things for me that has been very important throughout this time, especially with my travel business, is to stay in constant communication with my clients. You cannot go missing in the midst of a pandemic. Even if you don't know what to share, even if you don't know what to talk about, keep those lines of communication open, because you want to stay at the top of their mind, even if they aren't able to take advantage of your specific products or services right now. You don't want 2021 to roll around and they've totally forgotten about you and the value that you offer. So question number one, how can you increase your communication during this time with your existing clients to further nurture your relationship? Next slide and next question. What needs do your clients have outside of the traditional products or services that you provide? So what are some things that you are able to provide to your customers that they typically aren't able to come to you for? Think about some of the creative ways that you can continue to meet the needs of your customers that are outside of the traditional things that you are providing. Next slide. What skills do you possess that you can package into a digital product or online course? For this one, I want you to think about the things that you naturally are an expert on. The things that people always come to you for help with, the things that your coworkers always want your assistance with, or they're always asking you questions around this specific topic. What are those things that are coming natural to you that you don't have to do, that much research? You might have to do a little bit of research, but that you don't have to do extensive research on to be able to create a digital product or an online course. The teacher in me truly believes that you have a course inside of you. There is something that someone is willing to pay you to learn from you. So what skills do you possess that you can package into a digital product or an online course? Next question. If you are a service-based business, what DIY skills can you teach your clients? One perfect example for this is beauty businesses. One of the things that I saw a lot of nail techs specifically doing during this pandemic, they obviously can't open up their salons. People were not going into, nail salons to get their nails done. So one thing that I saw some nail techs doing is creating press-on nails or creating tutorials or digital products to show you how to maintain your nails in the midst of this pandemic. A lot of people were unhappy having to go natural during this time when in relation to beauty. And so if you were a beautypreneur, there are some things that you can teach your clients to be able to do it themselves that you can still monetize. So that's one way that you can pivot as a service-based business. But just spend some time thinking about how you can create a product that allows your clients to be able to continue what you were once doing for them in person. How can you provide them with the skills or, the training needed to be able to kind of do your job for you until they can come back to you? And then last but not least, if you are a product-based business, what ancillary products can you provide to increase your sales revenue? So if you are already selling handbags, can you create wallets to go with them? If you're already selling workout clothes, can you create resistance bands to go with them? What are some complementary products that you can develop that your existing customers will need that go along with what they're already purchasing from you? What can you create so that you can increase your sales revenue? Last thing I want to leave you with, if you happen to not be a business owner yet, again, this is the perfect time, I believe, the perfect time to start a business. So one question that you can ask yourself if you are not in business yet, What can you provide that solves a problem during this pandemic? I don't know how many people I saw creating masks and selling masks within their business, whether they were, already existing business owners or they started a business just creating masks. I saw people creating disinfectant kits. What can you create that solves a common problem that people are experiencing right now? Again, I am Koereyelle DuBose. You can connect with me on all social media networks at Koereyelle. If you are interested in learning more about how I help women turn their skills into multiple streams of income, then you can definitely connect with me at workuniversity.com. And I would love to be able to answer any questions that you have at this time. I can't hear you, Jerry.
Thank you so much. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been dealing with my microphone in recent weeks. But no, I was just telling you, I'm sure we can't see the audience, but I am certain to give you a round of applause right now for that wealth of information that you provided. I'm very appreciative of you sharing your story and your skills and your secrets, really, because, like you learned most of what you shared from trial and error. So, this gives everyone watching the opportunity to kind of skip to the headline of a bit and, don't make the mistakes that you've experienced and, kind of learn from someone else's mistakes and lessons. So thank you for sharing that. We do have some time for some Q&A. We'll start with Jennifer Janier. What stages of your marketing funnel have you had to shift, if any?
So personally, I have not had to make any shifts within my marketing funnels because my businesses, with the exception of my travel agency, that whole marketing funnel went down the drain. So I didn't just have to shift that. That one kind of was put on pause. But with the exception of that business, all of my businesses were set up to do business online. Again, once I realized that I could spend less time, less energy, and less money creating digital products and creating online programs versus doing in-person events and creating physical products, I made that shift back in probably 2018. So luckily, I have not had to pivot too much in my businesses outside of my travel agency.
Got it. Thank you so much for that question, Jennifer. We have a question from Rashida Mitchell. How much an investment should I expect to make starting a drop shipping business? Great question.
That is a great question. Believe it or not, okay? Believe it or not, I am going to say that depending on the drop shipping business that you want to start, you can literally start your drop shipping store for $100 or less. The Shopify theme that I use to this day on my drop shipping store was free. So you don't have to, spend hundreds of dollars. You don't have to go for the paid things. I believe in, really being creative with how you spend your money until you really start making money. I don't want to spend a bunch of money if I'm not making a bunch of money. So I have a free template that I got from Shopify, and the Shopify plan is $29 a month. Now, I do recommend, again, depending on the products that you decide to sell, I do recommend ordering samples so that you know what your customer is going to receive. But again, if you're selling a low-cost product like a t-shirt or something like that, you can order a sample, start your shop, and DIY it for less than $100. So if you have more than $100, then you're really winning. But I'll say $100 or less.
And that's awesome. That's an awesome opportunity, particularly if you are a social butterfly, if you've mastered social media, or even you're comfortable with it. Being able to start a business for $29 a month and pretty much leverage the network that you might have been building, for the past couple of years, or that you can start now, is just a phenomenal opportunity.
Yep.
Follow-up question to that, however, is $29 a month, and you mentioned requesting samples. Is Shopify actually manufacturing the products, or do you have to secure manufacture from other resources?
So another beautiful thing about Shopify, if anybody knows somebody at Shopify, tell them to come on over here because I'm always talking about how. Yes, I love Shopify. I love Shopify because all of this, they thought about everything. I mean, they literally thought about everything. So Shopify does not personally manufacture products themselves, but they have an app store. And so inside of their app store, you can literally type in drop shipping or product development or product fulfillment and a list, just like your iPhone app store. You know, depending on what apps you download on your phone, that determines what features and functions your app has. Same thing with Shopify. So you can literally go into the Shopify app store and just based on the keywords that you type in, it will bring up different manufacturers depending on the product that you want to sell.
Got it. Well, we have another question from the Greater Phoenix Urban League Young Professionals. You shared a bit about your early lessons along your entrepreneurial path. So what lessons did you learn from your early entrepreneurial pivots that helped you during this pandemic?
The biggest lesson that I learned is that every quote unquote failure moves you forward as long as you don't quit. So I mentioned, you know, my very first event, literally 8 years ago today, August 25th, 2012, that was, in my opinion, and at the time, a failure. However, it really taught me that, you know, you can, as they say, you can cry about it or you can boss up. You know, you can, and I did cry. I did spend a lot of time crying because I was very sad about the results of that event. However, it really lit a fire in me to figure out what would work. I saw what didn't work, but I was determined to figure out what would work. And so since that experience, of course, that wasn't the only obstacle that I've had, but I'm not going to quit regardless of what happens, like global pandemic or not. I'm going to figure out what I need to do in order to not be broke. I was making pennies as a classroom teacher. And, you know, when people ask me, what's my motivation? How do I keep going when I'm not getting the results? I refuse to go back to that. Like, I refuse to go back to working so hard, working tirelessly and not getting paid what I was worth. And so whatever I have to do as an entrepreneur to avoid that, I'm willing to do it. So really just, that was probably the biggest lesson, is just that you can't quit. Like, the only people that we know about, the quote unquote successful people, the only thing they have in common is that they didn't quit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point. You know, like, this particular to your story and your journey is the fact that you were a teacher, you were an educator, and those skills that you've learned dealing with the babies, teaching them how to, you know, everything from read and write to sit down and listen and get in line. All of those skills translated into what you're doing now and teaching particularly Black women how to be entrepreneurs. And, you know, it's really phenomenal that we have 2 Black women making an impact in this space that is typically dominated by others. So, you know, the work that you're doing as an entrepreneur, as an assistant vice president within the bank, working with small businesses, is just truly phenomenal. And, you know, the wealth of information that both of you have is just, you know, we're swimming in gold like Scrooge McDuck right now of information. So I hope everyone has had the opportunity to absorb that information. If you have any further questions, feel free to get them in right now. We have a couple more minutes. We can take a couple more questions. Again, Koereyelle DuBose, entrepreneur extraordinaire, marketing expert, genius, good person, and all of the above. We'll share her information again, you know, before we sign off tonight. And if you would like to obtain her information, you can drop your email in the comments. You can send me a message. I'm on IG, Jerry McPherson _ or send me an email, jmcpherson@gphxul.org. We have another question from Paul Underwood, Mr. Paul the Money Man Underwood. Paul, what's your view on affiliate marketing? Is it viable?
Absolutely. So I use affiliate marketing in all of my businesses because, again, multiple streams of income. You're not the only one looking for multiple streams of income. There are people out here who are going to support your business regardless. So if they can be provided with an incentive for doing so, then 9 times out of 10, they're all for it. One of the ways that I use affiliate marketing within Werk University, my students, hopefully, the goal is for them to get results. Well, if they're getting results, then they're organically going to be telling people about it because they're going to be excited. And so my whole thing is, you might as well get paid off of telling people about it because you're telling people anyway. And so that's one way that they're literally able to make money every single month because it's a membership model. So it's recurring revenue for them just by talking about the results that they're getting inside the program. And I'm doing the same thing I've done the same thing in the past with my live events. I'm doing the same thing with this digital event. If you're telling people about it because you're excited, you might as well be able to make a percentage of the people, a percentage of the profit from the people that you bring to the table. So I'm all about community-based efforts. My entire brand has been built on, my community. And again, it's all about leveraging the audiences of other people. So the time that it takes you to build your audience to 10,000, 20,000, or 50,000, that can take years. But if you get in front of, or if you create affiliate relationships with 5 people that have 5,000 followers in their audience, you're automatically in front of 25,000 new people that it would have taken you, quite some time to be able to get in front of on your own. So I'm definitely an advocate for affiliate marketing.
And I'll offer some kind of just an addendum to that is, I know years ago, or maybe when a lot of businesses got started, or even now, the idea of bartering services, Koereyelle, I'll provide you accounting services, you provide me with marketing service, and now we can do business together, right? That same concept can be applied to sharing followers. So if you only got 1,000 to 2,000, 5,000, feel free to co-promote each other's products. While it may not be a large swath of people, it's a new group of people that can now become familiar with yourself and your products. I did want to bring someone to the conversation a bit. So outside of the chat, someone was singing your praises of how valuable the information was and whatnot. So if you share some thoughts that some takeaways that you've learned from today's program.
Definitely. And you know what? Everything that you were saying, Koereyelle, kind of strikes home when it comes to the new way of doing business. This is not normal for everyone, but this information is kind of one of those things where you can't get all this from YouTube in an hour. Like, it's a lot of information you just packed everybody with, which is absolutely amazing. So I applaud you on that, because a lot of people come in, they talk about themselves. Sometimes they, throw some fireworks out there and then that's it. But you can actually take what you've taken and apply it to your business and do something with it. And I will have to say, I have to compliment you on your multiple streams of income is a necessity. A lot of people don't think that. A lot of people think, oh, I have my education, I'm good. I'm going to go work 40 hours with a corporate office. Or I have my business, I'm good. Nothing's going to happen. We're in a decent economy. I can make it in a middle economy or a good economy, or whatever it might be. But if they look at the lives of the people who are actually doing things like, Jerry, how many businesses do you have? How many jobs and businesses do you have?
I'm sorry, say it again.
How many jobs or multiple streams of income? How many places are you pulling income from?
Currently 5.
Yeah.
It's fluctuating. I'm trying to clean some things up right now.
Exactly. So I personally have 5 as well, but my main part is corporate America. People look at me as corporate America, but don't think that they can't let me go tomorrow. So I have to make sure that I have things going on, that I have income coming in, that I have my name on certain things. And the same thing, everyone, no matter where you are in income, you have to have multiple streams of income. So I really applaud you for actually digging in and telling people that is highly important. Being an expert is one thing, but allowing that expertise to kind of travel along other things is fantastic. So great job.
And that point is really important because, we are, whether you're corporate America, nonprofit space, entrepreneurship, no one would have known this would have had this kind of impact. It's like really mind blowing, which, I don't want to get into the politics of it, which is part of the reason why a lot of people find it, challenging to accept what is being told of us, because it's just so ridiculous. It's so far-fetched, nearly impossible if we would have told it this 6 months ago. So the best time to start a business, or as the phrase goes, is 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So, and not necessarily start a business, but figure out those other streams of income. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be a new industry. It doesn't have to be new business. Yeah. Some of the questions that Koereyelle offered is, what ancillary information or products or services that you can offer. Like, you have to start asking yourself these questions now, because next catastrophe is too late, whether it's losing a job or the next virus to come around or political unrest and natural disaster. You just have to start thinking about these things today if you truly want it to be beneficial when you need it most. We have another question coming in from the president of the Greater Phoenix Urban League Young Professionals, Ms. Ashley Atkins. As a person looking to get into entrepreneurship full time, outside of knowing what you want to do, what is your advice to get out of corporate America? What are some of your first steps? Great question, Ashley.
Okay, I'm assuming you're asking me. Corporate America, I'll speak, and then definitely, Koereyelle, you can lead us home on that one. Don't stop corporate. Corporate is your currency. No one's going to know who you are half the time unless you have that corporate backing behind you, if it coincides with what you do. But always keep that income if you can. Now, there's a point where you keep it going, because my brother, I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but he was in corporate America for a long time. I think it was like 15, 20 years, something like that. But he started his business while in corporate America for 3 years. He didn't leave until he was comfortable enough to make sure he can make that change. And that wasn't his only form of business. So corporate America is an amazing platform to boost you to where you want to go. It's what helps pay the regular bills, and then anything extra helps get you in your investments and everything else that you want to do. So investments meaning your future. That's where your business comes in. So if you want to invest in your future, you have to do that kind of on the side. You might have to work 80 hours a week, but that's okay, because there's an end point to that. But keep what you have until you are comfortable with dropping corporate and sticking with your brand. Your brand is highly important. And sometimes you want to make sure that the view of your brand isn't fully or 50% attached to your corporate job either. So that's my point on it. Koereyelle, what do you think?
And Ashley, I have never worked in corporate America. I feel left out a little bit when it comes to that. My only professional experience is as a classroom teacher. So my answer is more so jumping out of wherever you happen to be in when you just want to make that shift. And the number one thing that I would say is knowing your survival number. When I stepped away from a job that I was working post teaching, I was really scared that I was not going to be able to live the same life that I was living while I had that job. And guess what? I was right. You cannot live, a lot of times, most of the time, you cannot live that same life and have those same spending habits that you have when you have this guaranteed money coming in. Even if you're making good money in your business, look at what happened in 2020. So that good money that you were making might now have to be, in your reserves, really, truly depending on that money. And so I think that as long as you have that guaranteed paycheck, make sure that you're putting money to the side, or at least investing in something. One of the ladies that was a part of the bundle with me retired at, I think, 32 or 34, and she did it through real estate. So you don't necessarily have to start a business and replace your income with your business income. You can make some good investments with your corporate salary that gives you a cushion so that your bills are paid by this real estate property or this portfolio that you've been able to build. And then, you can kind of figure out the next steps from there if you have been planning. But I think the common denominator for what Summer and I are both sharing is that you need to have a plan and you need to be planning ahead. Do not listen to the Instagram quotes that tell you to jump out there and your wings are gonna, appear. Don't do it, because the people who are posting that are not gonna pay your bills.
They're also not working. So, and I will say one thing on that. And I know, Jerry, it's important, and I handle financial education. So I see a lot of this. People have this plan, this vision, they stop one thing and come to another one, and they do their business, and then they come to me wanting a loan. If you've been in business for less than 2 years, the likelihood of you getting a loan for your business is low. If anything, it'll be less than $10,000 that you get. So if you need a loan for $50,000 and you just stopped your main stream of income, but you say your business, you might have just had a big deal for $50,000. As a bank, we can't bank on that one deal happening every single year. So if you have your plan in place, and this is one of those things where you need to make sure that your budget is prepared, your lending is set, because they'll base it on whatever is happening right now, not what you foresee and not what happened in the past. It's all about right now. So definitely take a look at that before jumping into to the ocean.
Yeah, if I can add anything to that, I've been on both sides of the decision. So I was 24, 25 years old. I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, because then you know my age. But I definitely was once of the mindset where screw corporate America, I'll figure it out. And I don't want to call it the worst decision of mine, because it ultimately led me to where I am today, but it was a struggle. I was just so quick, just, forget about corporate America. I got it on my own. I'm smarter than all of these people in the room. They're going to be, I really wish I would have taken advantage of being paid to learn how to run a business. Like, I spent my own money trying to figure that out, and it cost me a lot of money in the process, a lot of stress, a lot of heartache, when I could have been continuing to pick up my biweekly check that wasn't, it wasn't the greatest piece of change, but it was a piece of change that I could have been paid to learn how to run a business. So that's something I would offer, is like, consider where you are and what you can get out of it. At some point in time, going to work is not going to be worth your time. But like, let your dollars, let your bank account, let the demand of your business dictate that, not your lack of discipline or your Instagram feed and things of that sort. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions. Again, feel free to follow Koereyelle across all social media platforms. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Again, Koereyelle, thank you so much. You have been a phenomenal host, a wealth of information. Again, I'll reiterate, I am deeply proud of your progress in the entrepreneurship world, because I would tell you that day you mentioned, I was thinking like,
Work.
I'll leave it there. I was concerned. But no, truth be told, I know you always had it in you, and I'm happy that you was able to fulfill your destiny and continue on this path that you're going on, particularly with helping Black women. I know personally, kind of like how we help Connected. Like, I just wanted to help a Black woman succeed. So I appreciate and admire your leaning into this and helping this marginalized group to succeed and prosper. So, Black women have been the backbone of our community. So thank you so much for your efforts. I will turn the floor over to Summer to give some final thoughts on behalf of America.
Yeah. Well, I want to say again, thank you so much, Koereyelle. Your information was definitely kind of like a wake-up call for a lot of people, I believe. And with this being live, people can see it over and over again. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, from Comerica Bank, that this is information that is utilized. That's kind of why we set up the Bootcamp series, is because typically our Business Sense program is a 6-month course. And it's spread over bi-weekly, and you learn information to run your business or learn how to run your business. But the boot camp is, okay, we need something right now, right away, to get this done. And I think you have really gone far and beyond of what is required. A lot of the times, like I said, people give a little bit of information, but you were able to give so much that made sense for the people that are retaining this information. So thank you so much. Comerica Bank, we're going to be sponsoring another one with Jerry and Greater Phoenix Urban League for our Business Bootcamp series. Stay tuned for the next one, but I am so happy to see everyone here. Any other questions for Comerica Bank, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to answer for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Koereyelle. Again, if you need to reach out to either one of these phenomenal women, Summer S4set at Comerica.com, and I'll drop it in the chat. You don't have to get it now. You can come back to this. I'll also drop Koereyelle's information in the chat as well, so you can reach out to either one of these phenomenal Black women doing great things in this entrepreneurship space. With that being said, thank you so much for your time. It's greatly, I'm greatly appreciative to be able to be the conduit to share this information with our community, and we look forward to talking to you again in the next installment of our Business Sense Bootcamp, presented by Greater Phoenix Urban League and the Greater Phoenix Urban League Young Professionals, and sponsored by Comerica Bank. Thank you, and have a great night.